call me crazy. I think they're going to do above 500 though.
If there's a bet you want to put out there right now, just put them winning 9 to 10 games. They'll be over 500. They always are. Pittsburgh, no matter what they look like on paper, figures out a way to go over 500. Like, it's insane.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beard Zone Sports Talk. My name is David. I got Carlos with me as always, and we are going to continue our way too early predictions. We're heading up north to the AFC North division, probably the most competitive division in the NFL year after year. It's always an absolute race to the finish line in this division. So, but be sure to check out the other the last episode. We were in the South for the AFC. We broke down that. Do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into it. Carlos, before we actually get into the fullness of all of this, I do want to talk about a couple of things that has happened in the AFC. It's in the AFC East, but the New York Jets have went out and they spent a lot of money over the last couple of days. Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner have gotten the bags. Well deserved by both players. They've been consistent. They've been probably the one consistent over the last 2 or 3 years that the organization has actually had, unlike their up and down roller coaster seasons, but very well deserved. But Carlos, again, man, these markets are getting reset now. The corners, Sauce Gardner, highest paid corner. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it. Go and get your bag. But when does it stop? When do these NFL resets stop?
They never will. I mean, the salary cap keeps getting higher and higher every year. They'll just keep signing bigger television deals. And with streaming, and the NFL is now making deals with these streaming companies, I think it gets, in a sense, good for the players, but worse for the fan, because you're going to start seeing rights now for Peacock, Netflix, Apple TV, and we're already seeing it. So instead of now you have all these big cable rights with NBC, CBS, ESPN, they're going to filter down into that where we're seeing it with Netflix already. We saw a boxing match last week. So I don't, it's going to be nuts to think like there's going to be what we feel is a mediocre player, an okay player making like $20 million a year. Like, I'm going to be like, what, why? Like, but for Sauce, it's hard when there's very few premier corners, and he is one. And when you got it, you got to keep him. They don't come along enough, and that guy's at the top. He's a beast.
Yeah, he's right next to Patrick Surtain in my book. I mean, just consistently always giving quarterbacks an issue, which is what you want. And I mean, it goes back to, the Jets are they're not new to this, elite cornerback. I mean, they had Revis Island there for, a good amount of time, and now they get Sauce Gardner. So they continue to draft well. They continue to get elite corners there in New York. And on the flip side, Garrett Wilson, he's been the consistency on the offensive side of the ball. He did have a little bit of injuries last year. I think he missed a couple of games, but he still had a 1,000-yard season. He gets $32.5 million now a year. I mean, congrats to him. I think that's, what is that, number 5 now for fifth highest paid wide receiver, which honestly, I think that's a fair. I don't think that they overspin on him by any means necessary, but they made sure that they got their defensive guy, their offensive guy. Now they can try and build around that. They do have Justin Fields that came in. We're going to see how it goes. They got Aaron Glenn as the head coach now. So we're going to see how it goes there in New York. Obviously, the Aaron Rodgers experiment failed miserably. Some say, well, if he didn't get injured that very first year, maybe it was going to be a little bit different. All I know is that, don't come at me, Jets fans, I was with you guys for sure. Go back and look at our way too early prediction series last season, because I was for sure certain that you guys were going to win the Super Bowl.
16-1.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I was very for you guys a lot. So,
God.
but they are rebuilding for the future, getting these top two guys. Very well deserved. Congrats to both of them.
Yeah, with Wilson, he's always been a little like just over 1,100 yards. This guy hasn't had a quarterback. I know Aaron Rodgers was there last year, but I don't think I question Rodgers' passion for the game. And he brings in Devontae Adams, thinking that's going to save the Jets. But I mean, if you look at the list of quarterbacks this guy's played with, if he was anywhere else, he'd be putting up monster numbers. I feel he'd be up there with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, but he's doing Mike White, Zach Wilson, and then he gets anybody else they could throw at him when Rodgers went down. But he hasn't had a good quarterback at all that you would be like, oh, that guy's solid. So unfortunately, he still doesn't have one, but hey, he got paid, but he's a good guy, man. I'm a Garrett Wilson fan only because he's on my fantasy football team.
Fair enough. Very fair. He's a solid wide receiver to have on your fantasy because he is consistent, right? Yeah. So, but I mean, congrats to both of them. Very happy for them. Very well deserved. Both of those players have been playing. They've been the bright spot there in New York. Let's be honest. They have been the bright spot there in New York. So, and then they can continue to compete against each other in practices, continue to sharpen each other up, make each other better. I mean, that's only going to benefit whoever the quarterback is. And for a defensive-minded coach like Aaron Glenn, think about it. If you could just say, hey, just cover this side of the field. Just cover that guy. Follow him for the rest of the game, and then now let's get into the defensive scheme. That's a blessing, man. I mean, and like you said, there's not a lot of guys anymore that can do that in the NFL. It's very hard to find a shutdown corner. And coming from a Tampa fan, we struggle in the secondary. So I know how hard it is to find. So, but again, one last time, congrats to both of them. But Carlos, let's go ahead and get into this AFC North. It's a super competitive division. It always feels like that it doesn't matter who it is, whether it be the Kings like the Baltimore Ravens or the people who are, pretty crappy year in and year out, which is the Cleveland Browns. They always compete very well against. Yeah, no way. But they compete very well against each other. Let's get just right into it. I want to start with the Baltimore Ravens. They are the kings of the North there. I mean, they have Lamar Jackson, and then they added Derrick Henry in the backfield last year. They did bring in DeAndre Hopkins, at wide receiver. I think he's just kind of making his last run. But let's talk about this. You want to talk about secondary. They have figured it out. Their secondary is unreal on paper, and they produce. I mean, absolutely unreal. They go out, they get Malachi Starks from in the draft this past year. Then they just get oh my God, his name just
Jair Alexander.
Jair Alexander from the Green Bay Packers. They already have Hamilton. This secondary is absolutely unreal, and their offense can produce easy 28 to 35 points a game. I mean, easily. Yeah. They're very productive with Lamar Jackson. So this is going to be a very hard team to beat again in the AFC North. And how do you feel about them?
I think they're good. The only thing I question a teeny bit is their front four. But that back end is so good with Marlon, like you said, Marlon Humphrey, Jair Starks, the rookie should be he's a Baltimore Raven. He can play the pass. He comes up, plays the run. He plays like a Raven. He'll do it. And then Kyle Hampton's a beast as well. They got Roquan Smith, great linebacker. I just worry about the front four a little bit, and if they're going to be able to put enough pressure, as good as any secondary in is, without some pressure from the front four, it can be a little bit difficult, especially with the great receivers they're going to see throughout the year. But it's a scary team.
It is a scary team.
Very, very scary.
Let's not forget, if it wasn't for one very painful drop by Mark Andrews, who is a consistent. As much as people wanted to come at him, come on, man. The guy is one of the best tight ends in the league. He's always been very consistent. It was unprecedented what we saw him drop that catch there. So I mean, who knows what could have happened? Because I think that the Baltimore Ravens were out for blood last playoff run because they lost in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs 2 years ago. So I really
Yeah.
think that they were very hungry. And Lamar Jackson said it on his draft day. What are the Baltimore Ravens going to get from you? They're going to get a Super Bowl from me. I know that you've come out and you've been very public on you don't think Lamar Jackson is going to be a Super Bowl winning
Uh,
quarterback. I don't know, man. They're building this team very well, and I'm very excited to see what they do. They were 13-4 last year, and I mean, I truly don't see them doing anything less than that this year. Maybe a 12-5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I think Lamar's great. He keeps getting better every year. You know, his passing game has gotten better. His legs are always going to be his legs, and he's gotten better. I think the Derrick Henry signing made that possible for him, and I think Hopkins isn't. I don't know what we get out of Hopkins anymore. Like when he went to Kansas City, we were like, this guy's gonna. I mean, geez, go pick him up on fantasy. You do, all this good stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything. So that's the only thing is he doesn't. Zay Flowers, can he stay healthy? Rashad Bateman, they drafted number 1 out of Minnesota, never really panned out to be that guy, but he has his flashes.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have 2 good tight ends. I'm a huge fan of Isaiah Likely, and then Mark Andrews always been sure-handed.
Me too.
Except for the one time they needed it. O-line's pretty decent, and Derrick Henry. As long as I will say, they were a team that stayed pretty healthy throughout last year. So
Yes.
the battle of nutrition did help out quite a bit. Let's see if Lamar has to keep playing. I felt like he got robbed of the MVP last year. I thought he was the MVP. Josh Allen gets it, but I thought he was clear cut. But he's got to play at that such high level, and the defense is going to have to I don't know. I'm still suspect of Lamar Jackson be able to take a team to the Super Bowl. It's different going 13-4. You're going to have teams that you beat up on. It's but it's just different when you're in the playoffs. Like it's playoff atmosphere. The pressure's there. The other team on the other side is really good, and they're good for a reason. So the scouting, everything's going to be on point. So we'll see. I'm not a anti-Baltimore Ravens Lamar Jackson. He almost won me a fantasy football league last year. So I don't hate him, but there's just something. But the guy keeps getting better, so I wouldn't hurt my feelings if he proves me wrong. If the Dolphins aren't in the Super Bowl, which is probably not going to happen.
Probably not. We'll get to the AFC East next week.
I appreciate your optimism there for me.
Yeah, probably. No worries, buddy. I'm always here for a good.
Thanks a lot.
I'm always here for good support. They also, I mean, they did re-sign Ronnie Stanley, who is a very dude, the guy's a beast on for an offensive tackle. Definitely want to keep Lamar Jackson upright, although it's almost impossible to sack him. It seems like the guy's an escape artist in itself.
I will say one guy, if he gets hurt, I feel their offense is done. And weirdly to say,
Lamar Jackson.
No, well, yes, that. But he stays healthy. He does. Actually a pretty strong guy, and he's pretty smart when he runs. Mm-hmm. I feel if Derrick Henry goes down, that season's done. They don't have anything in the back behind him that I think is playable.
But that's another guy who is consistent and healthy. So, I mean.
He is, but at some point. But then I just watched training video of him running up those freaking hills, doing all kinds of stuff. I'm like, what the heck, man? That's not a human being. But, I mean, anything can happen, and they need to stay healthy to make that big run. Any team does, but I feel like if something were to happen to him, they're in for a long season. It's going to put a ton of pressure back on Lamar like we saw 3 years ago. And he's just running everywhere for his life, taking hits. Like I feel like a domino effect if he goes down. So hopefully King Henry stays up and keeps defying the age of the running back curse, I guess, in a way. Like as they get older, they decline after 30. Nobody told him. So if somebody accidentally told him that, hey, you're over 30.
No. Yeah. Nobody told Derrick Henry the amount of miles and yards that guy has on his body is absolutely unreal. So, but I like the Baltimore Ravens. I think that they're going to take the North again. It's one of those things, man. The other teams, the three other teams, there's a what if in certain areas. There's a big what if in Cleveland for the entire team, basically. But every other team, though, is like, okay, well, is like Pittsburgh. What if Aaron Rodgers? Like, how's that going to work? And the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, they don't have Trey Hendrickson. That's still an absolute mess, it seems like. Their defense is abysmal. They didn't actually end up. They didn't even go out and draft anybody. So let's get right into the Cincinnati Bengals because this is one of my biggest frustrations. I'm a huge Joe Burrow fan, and the fact that you have a guy with Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins, you go out and you put all of your money on those three guys, and then you have an absolute monster in Trey Hendrickson, who is the literal only one bright spot on your defensive side, and you're like, I don't know. So it's like, what are we doing? The Cincinnati Bengals have a lot of question marks when it comes down to their defense. I mean, there were games last year, Carlos, where the Bengals scored 40 points and they still lost. What do you want? What do you want Joe Burrow to do? You already gave this guy an absolute major injury his, what was it, rookie sophomore year. You don't really go out and get an offensive line until year 3, and it's still even questionable at that point. Now you finally have the pieces around him to where he can produce the way that we know that Joe Burrow can produce. He's gotten you to a Super Bowl, and the reason why you lost is because you couldn't protect him. Because and Aaron Donald. Let's be real. Aaron Donald was like, nope, I'm going to get this ring and then I'm going to retire.
This ring.
Yeah, I'm going to get this ring. But there are teams out there that would kill to have a quarterback like Joe Burrow. But yet, the Cincinnati Bengals are here wasting his career because they're not investing in a defense that is worth a damn. There is no way that this team can continue to be successful long term if they just pay. I mean, I get it. You want to keep Jamar Chase. You want to keep T. Higgins. Those two guys are absolute studs. I get it. But something's got to give with this defense, Carlos.
It's pretty. If you're a Bengals fan, I could only say one thing about your offseason. It's embarrassing. You're right. T. Higgins he's a 1. They have a 1A and a 1B at wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But their first round pick hasn't even signed yet. Shamar Stewart, they want this guy to sign a contract. It's a rookie contract. It's not about numbers. There's caps on him, so he can only sign for so much. But if he gets hurt, they want the contract voided. They want the guy to be the first one to ever sign this type of contract. He is not going to sign it. Nobody wants to be the first guy. Now, if you're saying, hey, right out the gate, we can pay you $25 million a year, but if you get hurt, it's all void and done. Probably I might take my chance, but I would play very cautious. But that guy's not even signed. So you draft a guy to help your stud player in Hickerson, and then he doesn't even want to play because he wants a ton of money as well and deserving. The guy is a sack leader last year, so they didn't address anything in the secondary. I don't know what they're doing. It sucks as a fan of them because you have a stud quarterback. You have a Super Bowl capable winning quarterback. Yep. You have the best receiver we've seen in a while. This guy won the Triple Crown last year. But you can't give up 38 points a game. Like, come on.
No.
At least hold your opponent to 30. At least hold them to 30. They can take care of the rest. So it's got to be super frustrating being a Bengals fan knowing that you have a star-studded offense, but you got nothing on defense. Nothing there's literally 11 bodies out there and not one of yeah, I don't know what they're doing. If Hickerson doesn't show up and play, they're in serious trouble. And Shamar Stewart doesn't sign, they're in serious trouble.
Yeah. It's been a very quiet offseason. It's very concerning. I don't know what they're doing. and I don't foresee them making any like big splashes because really
No.
there's no big splashes to make unless if some way somehow they can pull off signing Trey Hendrickson, which I truly don't believe that is going to happen. I mean, let's talk about even what they gave up on the offensive side just a year ago in Joe Mixon. I mean, they had a stud running back to help out to relieve some of the pressure of Joe Burrow, right? And Joe Mixon is gone. He has a hell of a year with the Texans. So it's like I don't know what the Cincinnati Bengals are doing. I feel really bad for Joe Burrow. I really hope that this guy gets a supporting defense around him. I mean, he has a supporting cast on offense. Let's just
Yeah.
get him. I mean, this team needs a defense. You can't give up the amount of yards and the amount of points that you did last year and think that you're going to be competitive. I mean, I don't get it.
I mean, I don't even think they can afford. I mean, he's going to want top 3 money. So you're talking close to 30 million a year. They just signed these other guys for an insane amount of money. I will say one thing that you don't see anymore. And Tom Brady and Mike Evans, I think, are the last two that I think we're going to ever see do this. They care about winning more than an extra few $1 million. And now we say that very lightly, an extra few $20 million. But
Right.
Brady never had big contracts. He wanted to win. And Evans has always been a team guy. Get people in here. I want to win Super Bowls. And I don't think we're going to see that in these NFL players anymore. You know, oddly, when we saw Mahomes sign that big
Not
contract.
coming from an NIL era. No.
And that's the thing. Moving forward, these guys already have some money to start a very good foundation to take care of themselves for the rest of their lives. I mean, not to go off topic a little bit, the number one recruit in college football just signed like a $15 million deal. What the hell? This kid hasn't even stepped on a college football field, and he's a millionaire. As long as he's got to stay with the school, but for $15 million, I'll go to class.
Yeah, I'll go. I'll stay here.
Yeah. But is he? Do you pay him that amount of money? Go into maybe and become the New Orleans Saints, and you go into salary cap hell, or do you trade the guy and get a couple pieces, get your first round pick signed first? Why don't you do that? Stop being ridiculous and give him his guarantee. It's not a lot of money. It's not like you're asking to guarantee this guy $80 million. He's probably going to get a guarantee of 10 or 11. Just give the kid his money, get him in a training camp, and then for them, I think if you could get, is it possible that some team that could use a pass rusher like the Panthers that we talked about, would you give up a 1 and a couple 2s, maybe a couple 1s and a 2 to give back? And that you figure those are going to be like,
I'm going to say no. And the only reason why I say no is because look at last year's draft class. The amount of depth that was in the last year's draft class in the pass rushing game was unreal. Now, I know that year after year, that's not going to be the case, but there's a lot of talent coming into the NFL coming in the next few years, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So, but you can't compare a draft to a solidified player, stud, right? So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. First of all, I don't see the Carolina Panthers owner giving up, a pair of socks for anything that he doesn't feel like he's going to have to
pay. Here's my other thing. When does the NFL make these players honor their contract? Hey, when Hickerson signed his last contract, he makes $20 million a year. I want everybody to know that the guy makes $20 million a year. It's not like he's making $1 million or $2 million. He's making 20. I think he'll be okay. I think the kids will get to school, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And I get it. If you handed me $10 million after taxes, I'll figure out how to make the rest of my life work. At some point, though, it irritates me as a fan that these players don't honor their contracts. I understand the economics part. They want to get paid. It's not a long career. I get that part. I 100% get it. Get your money elsewhere. But, man, at some point, they got to honor these contracts. You signed a 4-year deal for $85 million. Play it out. Like, come on. Like, at some point, when do they actually play these contracts out.
Yeah, well, and I think that goes into how these agents are working these NFL teams now with these contracts and everything else like that. It's just going to get a little bit. It's definitely challenging with the NIL deal, the way that it is. Like you said, man, we got these real Carlos. If I was handed $5 million at the age of 18, 19, I don't think I would be sitting here talking to you. I would have probably made a lot of
Whoa.
poor choices. A lot of poor choices. I would probably ended up dead somewhere or in jail because I would have just made very poor choices. So shout out to the guys who have been able to keep a level head. But the NIL deal, the way that this is, the way that it's going, I mean, it made Nick Saban retire.
It did.
It made him retire. So it's just one of those things. Now I will say this. I saw an interview, not an interview, but a podcast. It was with Namakin Sue and Vita Vea. And Vea was talking about how, everyone talks about these NFL contracts, but you have to understand, like, the cost of being an NFL player is very expensive. And like he was talking about how these practice squad players, they can really struggle, financially because it's the nutritionist, it's the hotel rooms, it's the making sure that you're investing in your body and doing what you need to do to make sure that you're in tip top performance. You train at the same facility as those guys, so there's a fee with that. There's all these different things, and then there's like little funny stuff that he was just like, if you fart in a hotel room, you're gonna get fined, so it's just like so I understand why maybe some of these players, can get a little bit greedy and selfish with their money. And again, I don't blame them. Go and make your money. If I had the opportunity to make any kind of that money at all, yeah, I would be selfish about it too. So I understand. But I do like your point. If you're going to sign this contract, you're going to play it out. You're going to play it out. We're going to hold our end of the agreement. We'll pay you the money that we agreed to because of the caliber of player that you are currently right now as we're signing this. But you need to play this out. Just play it out. And then if you feel at the end of your contract you deserve more, explore your options. Just like what we said earlier, these deals are going crazy with the streaming services. It's up and to the right in the NFL. That's what it is. It's up and to the right. Business is very good in the NFL. So you're going to have an opportunity to play. Now I understand injuries and all that other stuff can come into play. But hey, it's a contact sport. You got into it knowing there's injuries involved.
Yeah, this might be an unpopular opinion of mine. What else would you be doing? The average practice squad player, as long as they're on the practice squad for the season, makes about $230,000. What else were you going to do to make $230,000? You got a 4-year free education. You should have made something of it. I get it. I can't feel bad for a guy making $20 million that he doesn't want to play because now he wants $29 million. Go play. You're playing a kid's game. I grant it, you're the best of the best, but I can't feel bad for. I like nutritionists, all that. I don't. They get no sympathy from me. I just, as a fan perspective, at some point, and we will never do it because we have such love for the game as fans. We're never going to go, hey, we're not going to go to those games. We will always figure it out to get. A father's always going to figure out how to get tickets for their kids. Like, they're going to figure it out. But man, it's going to be crazy. Like, hey, I want to go to a Bucks game. It's going to cost me $2,000. I mean, if you go to Disney right now for the weekend, it costs you like 10. So it's going to be something like that. So it sucks for us. Great for a millionaire getting more money, but man, I just wish they would just play their contracts out. I get it. And what frustrates me the most is, hey, I signed this deal. Hey, I'm doing really well. You were supposed to do well.
Yeah. That's why we paid you $20 million.
Yeah, we didn't say, hey, you signed for 80 or 20 million a year. Just sucked. You're supposed to play well.
Yeah, well, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier about this whole market reset. At some point, we got to stop. You can't, just because you're playing and you're producing at an extremely high level and maybe at one of the best levels, if you just signed the contract 2 years ago, you got paid top dollar at that time. So don't be so jump the gun to say, oh, okay, well, nope, I'm not going to play anymore because I don't make as much as this guy, and this guy doesn't produce as much as I do, and so therefore I'm not going to do that.
I can tell you now, if the NFL, and it probably won't happen, it would probably involve some kind of boycott. Just said, hey, nope, this is the cap. We're sticking to it. These guys aren't going to go play soccer and tennis and golf. There's not much in their life they're going to really do other than play football, which they love. They'll come back, but it never will happen. So we'll be talking about 3 years from now the new highest paid corner doing $40 million. There'll be
that's what it's going to be.
$40 million.
But again, up into the right business is always good. We're good with that. So, Carlos, I feel like we've kind of beaten the dead horse there. So, let's go ahead and move on.
Speaking of a dead horse.
Yes, speaking of a dead horse, let's move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers because they just got a dead horse at quarterback with Aaron Rodgers. Oh, man, that was a perfect transition. Honestly, though, Aaron Rodgers in the black and yellow, I don't know. Something about it just makes sense. I just with Mike Tomlin, they got DK Metcalf. They did trade away George Pickens, which I was kind of like, why are you going to do that when you have the opportunity to have a good 1-2 punch there? But they did go out and get Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey. It seems like the Pittsburgh just attracts these older players that have some locker room issues. Maybe they're not a toxic, but there's just some questionable character issues. But that's just the type of team that Pittsburgh continues to develop here. They have rookie quarterback Will Howard. I know what you say about Ohio State quarterbacks, but I think that he's in a very good situation with Mike Tomlin, the consistency with Mike Tomlin. You have Aaron Rodgers. You can learn from Aaron Rodgers. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how well they're going to do this year. You know what? I'm going to say, call me crazy. I think they're going to do above 500, though.
If there's a bet you want to put out there right now, just put them winning 9 to 10 games. They'll be over 500. They always are. Pittsburgh, no matter what they look like on paper, figures out a way to go over 500. It's insane. You know what I feel is kind of, how does Aaron Rodgers' attitude and Tomlin meet? Because Tomlin just strikes me as a gentleman that he don't play. And he's not going to have these long conversations, debate. And I could see some compromise. I think he's a great coach, and it makes sense why these these players that seem to bring different philosophy to his locker rooms, that he's able to hone them in and squeeze the last bit of football out of him. I give him that. The guy's great at that. And I think you're going to see Jalen Ramsey have a good year. My only worry is how's the Aaron Rodgers-Tomlin thing work out? I mean, I think it's a great place for Rodgers. He's in Arthur Smith, run game heavy, got two good running backs. I think and he's got a defense that's not going to give up a lot of points a game. So I don't think Rodgers needs to be a 4,500 yard guy, mid-30s touchdown guy. I don't think that's not the Aaron Rodgers they want. They want the no turnover Aaron Rodgers. And don't blow your Achilles out first play Aaron Rodgers. So
keep the American flag away from Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, don't ever touch that again.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe him and Mike Tomlin, though, maybe they met at an ayahuasca retreat. You never know. You never know. Mike Tomlin is a very private guy. We don't know what he's doing. He is about business, so I will say that. One of my favorite Mike Tomlin moments is when he's walking down the tunnel and a fan's like, hey, Mike, and he's like, shut up, man, I'm working. And he just keeps going. He's like, I'm working right now, man. I don't bother you at your job. Don't bother me at my job. And I absolutely love it. So
that's perfect. But, it makes sense. Hey, I'm trying to win a football game so you could be happy. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to take a picture with you, but I will do one. I'll try and make these tickets that you bought with your hard-earned money worth it and get a win for us here at home. So, but Mike Tomlin, man, he does. He finds a way to win. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. It doesn't matter what injuries take place. It doesn't matter what drama goes on in that locker room. He always finds. He's the steady Eddie of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers is a fantastic organization from the top down. I mean, ownership has just been consistent. Yeah. I mean, they've had 3 head coaches in the last 4 decades or something crazy like that. Ridiculous. It's insane. So absolute great organization. I am very curious to see, though. I think, you know what, there, man? They're going to be the one team that ruins one of these AFC North's playoffs hopes. I guarantee it.
They could.
I guarantee it. Or maybe not playoff hopes, but like let's say Baltimore is looking for the first seed and trying to get that first week bye. They're going to be the team that ruins it for them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, because it always happens. They always play Pittsburgh or they always play Baltimore very well. I mean, every team in this division plays very well against each other. Yeah, so I'm excited to see it. 9-8, 10-7. That's what I'm going to go with.
They're really good about bringing in the right players. I thought they drafted good with Derek Carmen out of Oregon. I think that's going to help them on the defensive line. As a Dolphin fan, I love the Ramsey Fitzpatrick. I like getting younger. It's a huge need for us, and they need it. And now
that was surprising.
Yeah, they have two middle 30 guys or low 30 guys with Darius Slay and now Ramsey, but two very capable corners that can lock the outside up. And then they already had Joey Porter back there at safety and Juan Thornhill. So they lose a stud in Fitzpatrick, but they have very capable players back there. So, and once you have those guys on the ends, it just makes the safeties work. They got to figure out the TJ Watt thing, though. He wants to get paid. He probably should get paid. The guy's a monster. So they just got to make sure Watt stays on the field, stays healthy. But they got Patrick Queen, who's a beast, man. It's a good football team. And then they draft Jack Sawyer, who is only other team I could think he could go to was the Lions, but he fits these profiles pretty well. So,
yeah, I'm a big fan of Jack Sawyer. A really big fan of Jack Sawyer. So I think he's going to fit in very well with that Pittsburgh environment there and that defense. So I'm okay with it. So, but let's move on to, the dumpster fire of the AFC North. That's the Cleveland Browns. What are we doing? We pass. So first of all, we give Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed contract. Doesn't end up working out. Probably not enough massage parlors in the area for him. Then they go out. They get, then they skip on drafting Sanders early. And then they get, who else did they draft? I forgot the other quarterback.
Gabriel from Oregon.
Yeah, so they drafted Gabriel from Oregon. And then they were like, you know what, let's go ahead and bring in Sanders. Let's see about that. And then, hey, Joe Flacco, are you willing to come off of the couch again?
He's like, I got nothing
Yeah,
to do.
okay, awesome. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring in these guys. We're not really too sure what's going to happen. We're going to depart ways with Nick Chubb, which I understand. I mean, Nick Chubb has been hurt, right? I mean, that's understandable.
He's had two big knee injuries.
Big knee injuries, man.
Yeah.
Big knee injuries.
That quarterback room's crazy. Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, two rookies, Sanders and Gabriel. And then you got Deshaun Watson, who's your fifth guy right now. This guy Deshaun Watson was a beast, man, a few years ago.
He was.
And then, what the hell? He got traded to Cleveland and went, well, he was already going down the hill. But, good Lord. Let
me tell you something. The Atlanta Falcons right now are probably like, ooh, thank God. Because it was almost Deshaun Watson in Atlanta, like when he was on the move. Here's the craziest thing. This locker room has two Super Bowl quarterbacks. Super Bowl winning quarterbacks.
It does, which is even more insane.
So there are two quarterbacks in that locker room that have won the Super Bowl. Well, okay. Kenny Pickett was a part of it. Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl.
How mad do you think like a Myles Garrett gets if Kenny Pickett walks in with a Super Bowl ring and he's looking at that going, that guy has a Super Bowl ring? Are you kidding me?
Dude, watch out, man. Another helmet's going to come flying. That's what's going to happen. Don't watch out.
I can't think of when will the Browns be good again? They're going to be rough this year. They got the second hardest schedule. Their team is not good, and they have some really good players. I think Jerry Jeudy's good. Myles Garrett, one of the best ever. Yeah, man, they don't have a lot, and they're now Junkins just got arrested for domestic violence. Their their running back rookie that they had high hopes for.
Which that was very disappointing because I was a big fan. I'm still a big fan of Junkins.
Yeah, and then now all reports that I've seen is that Gabriel is actually doing very well, and then Shedeur Sanders. I really think that guy wasn't as good. I really think Cam Ward kind of exposed him unknowingly, but now he's got the issues with the speeding. It doesn't sound like a big thing, but hey, you're an NFL quarterback. Get your crap together. But defensive wise, they got two. It's crazy. They have arguably the second best corner in the NFL, Denzel Ward, and probably the biggest freak of nature in Myles Garrett, arguably the best edge rusher. So you have that on your defense, but what the hell happened to the rest and their defense isn't bad. That's the crazy thing. They actually have a competitive defense, but that offense is that's rough. Like, I would throw my hat in the ring.
That offense is really, that offense is really rough. Here's what I'm going to say about the whole Gabriel thing. Every quarterback looks good in OTAs.
It does, but
there's not one quarterback out there that doesn't look half decent in OTAs, and everyone gets so hyped and everything else like that. But when it comes down to it, and you don't have the red jersey on anymore, and you can actually get blown up, things change just a little bit.
Listen to this, just hear me out. If you could take this defense and put it in a Bengals uniform, the Bengals, I would give them the division. They
landslide.
They get Mason Graham. They draft who I think is going to be good, and then the rest of their that is crazy. We have two polar opposites. You have the team that can score 50 points, and then you have another team over here that probably won't give up more than 12 to 13 points a game, but they can only score like 6.
So maybe both the Ohio teams just need to merge.
Not a bad idea. Be like, hey guys, on offense, we got it.
Yeah.
We just need your defense.
We're going to take over. We just need your defensive guys.
Yeah.
Because then vice versa. Give the Browns the Bengals offense.
Yeah.
They would still suck.
Don't put them in a Bengals uniform. No. It's like crazy. Don't put those doo-doo helmets on them. Because something happens when you put those on. And I don't know.
Something definitely happens. But maybe both, hey, you know what, NFL? Merge both Ohio teams and then get maybe a St. Louis team back. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. There's my proposal. But it is going to be interesting. I don't foresee. I mean, I think that the Cleveland Browns are going to be holding up the AFC as a whole. Is there going to be a team that's worse in the AFC than the Cleveland Browns this year, Carlos?
I don't think so. I think
I don't think so either.
I give them 3 wins this year. I think they're a 3-14 team. I mean, second hardest schedule, and you're gonna, as much as Joe Flacco, he's old now, man. But
he still produces.
He is, but he's not. I mean, even back when he won his Super Bowl, he was okay. He was good then. I wouldn't call him
a fantastic defense.
He was, but I mean, still, I don't think Gabriel's your guy. Kenny Pickett's not your guy. No. I don't know what they're going to do, man.
Maybe Sanders will shut us all up.
No, he's not. He's not going to.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
Yeah. He made enough money in college. He's good.
Yeah, no, I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting to find out. Okay, Carlos, last question before we go. And this is a question for all of you. Who's the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns week 1?
You got a better chance of putting it on roulette or baccarat or something, picking this. I'm going to go dark horse here. I'm going to go Gabriel. I think I'm going to go him. I think he's going to start.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be Sanders. I think that they go out. No, actually, no. Wait, time out. I think it's going to be Joe Flacco.
Did you see Sanders? Have you seen the reaction thing they do where they hang all the red and blue things and they drop and they got to catch them? Have you seen those videos that they're doing with these athletes?
I have. Let me tell you something.
Did you see Sanders?
I want to be able to do it. No, I didn't.
He caught one and barely caught it. It was the worst that I seen out of any player so far.
He's not a wide receiver though, Carlos.
But it's still I think I could get 2. I think I could get 2.
We're gonna have to get one and get a video of
Yeah,
it
we're
because
gonna have
I
to
don't
hit up
believe it.
RJ. I know they got one at Bucks camp, so we got to go over.
Yeah, we'll hit up RJ. But anyway, all right. Let us know who you think is going to be the starting quarterback. I say Joe Flacco. Carlos goes
I'm going
Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel.
Go for it. Hey, I like it. I like the confidence. So, but next week we will be diving into the AFC East. I know you see the Dolphins banner back there, so I know Carlos is getting excited for that to talk about how his team is going to disappoint him again this year. But we will get into all of it next week. Do us a favor. Follow us on all of our social medias. All the links are down there in the description or in the video description. Every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the off season. Come the NFL season, we'll probably be putting out some more content. But for the off season, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Friday, right here on YouTube, you get a brand new Beard Zone podcast. We appreciate the love and support that we've been getting. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and until next Friday.